Hey Starseeds, welcome to Starseed Energetics. Today I'm going to be talking about how I came to the realization of galactic consciousness and my Starseed awakening story, as it has been requested from a couple of the viewers when I posted a submission call for a Q&A. And this is something that's such a long and hefty topic that I can't really put it in a Q&A, but I have to make a separate video for it. If you like my story, then please give it a like so that I'll elaborate more into what happened after. But because it's such a long journey and a lot of explanation is required, I can't get into all of it now. I have to split it up into different parts. And also, I just want to mention, if you're the type of person who can get easily offended by their belief systems being challenged, this might not be the best video for you to watch, because my awakening journey has been very experiential rather than conceptual. So you might be offended if you don't like being challenged on your belief systems on reality. But if you're very open, then I invite you to listen to what happened. So, I was born in Seoul, South Korea. I was born directly into a very traumatized bloodline. First of all, my mother's womb was pretty much laden with my older brother's fetal death, and I also almost died as a fetus. So birth, as traumatizing it is to come to the third dimension, was like a triple traumatizing experience for me. My family has a pretty terrifying human history. I've had very security-threatening energy around me. My mom was a very heavily conditioned matrix type of human. I use the word was because I've completely helped her get to a point where it's beneficial for her spiritual journey. Not as intense as you and I, but still good. But she has a lot of earth angel energy, so she would have these prophetic dreams, and one of which she would often tell me that aliens handed me off at her doorstep. So there's the first omen. When I was a baby and I learned how to hold pens and draw, I would draw people. I loved art, so I would draw people that were close to me, people that were my family. But one day my mom pointed out that human anatomy does not look like what I was drawing. So pretty much I was drawing these humanoids that had really long necks that now I realize are Arcturians. I was so traumatized that my mother was laughing at my picture and telling me that's not how reality is. And I've had a few instances where this was the case, that people would tell me that's not how reality is when it's very experiential for me. And mind you, this is an age where you're barely learning to distinguish between forms and the notion of self and other. And another experience that I remember that was very painful for me is when I was young, I would fluently see into other dimensions, superimposed on top of one another. So I had these tribe of elementals and devas that would really be my tribe wherever I went. And I would talk to them telepathically and sometimes out loud in language after I learned human language. And one day I was in the corner of my house talking to these elementals, and my mom just started laughing and telling me that they were not there. And I was less offended but very hurt, because this was the first time that I realized people can't see what I see. And deep inside I knew I had to make a decision of choosing between my earthly family and these elementals. And I decided, I have to go with my physical family, my human earth family. And I remember I was apologizing to the elementals as I consciously faded them out of my awareness, and they were just silently sending me compassion. But this was one of the most painful memories from my childhood, if not ever, because it marked a specific event where I started to really suppress my authenticity and my truth. But my mom probably knew how uncanny these instances were, because my development was very abnormal. For instance, as soon as I learned to write language, I started to write poetry, and I would just scan very complex books and comprehend them to a level that didn't make sense for somebody who's not even near the age of going into school. And my parents didn't know how to handle it. It was kind of too much, so they just suppressed it. They did not enable me to explore further. They kind of got frightened whenever I do these things. So I was very much a repressed child in terms of my abilities. And other than the visions that I was able to have, that I obviously eventually suppressed, my extrasensory abilities were fully open. Telepathy, I knew how to telepathically communicate. I knew how to summon energies. I knew how to manipulate electronics in physical dimensions. I knew how to manipulate group energies in physical dimensions. I even knew how to manifest things out of thin air. And I was a kid, so there wasn't much that I wanted. Like, for example, I remember one day it was my dad's birthday and I manifested a small amount of money on the streets when I was out. And these things were not that big of a deal to me, but I soon learned the societal construct and how uncomfortable this made other people. So I suppressed all of these abilities because I cared deeply about the people around me, and I intuitively understood that my abilities were making them uncomfortable. So, suppressed it. But I still had certain tendencies. For example, I always programmed my sleep. I knew how to program my sleep, and it was one of my favorite activities ever. So right before I went to bed, the energetics that I would put myself through before I went to sleep. And I also knew how to do this with conscious reality, in which people call this manifestation. But this was more than manifestation. It was like setting certain energetic intentions. So when I was 4 years old, I read The Fable of Ugly Duckling for the first time. It was a picture book. And I really recognized that it was a symbolic narrative for a blueprint that I was meant to go through in my lifetime. This exponential transformation from a negative space. So as soon as I finished that book, I consciously made an intention to program the trajectory of the timeline in which certain milestones would unfold in my life, including the challenges and conflicts that I wanted to densely pack into a short frame of time. And looking back at it now, these certain ages that I picked back then have astrological significance. For example, the Saturn return. And I have not yet turned 27. And it's interesting because that was the point where I placed most of my intentional programming to kind of make this leap, this quantum leap. And I think you guys will just get to watch what happens because I started this YouTube channel before I turned 27. So it should be interesting. And I forgot that I'd programmed this type of trajectory until I turned about 24 and I looked back and I had this remembrance that I did this, and it was very uncanny how things unfolded. And it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But my perspective on self-fulfilling prophecy was that it's also destiny. I think that it's a simultaneous levels of the different energetics, and that it's not just free will and destiny, but it's both at the same time. It programs each other. So one day when I turned about, I think 9 or 10, it's very ambiguous, but around the age of 9 or 10, I never knew what immigration was, but then I came across the notion because my mom bought me this book about this Korean girl who moved to the United States with her family and went to Harvard University and all these different experiences that she had. And I immediately recognized that this was something I wanted to experience, to go and move to a foreign country and attend higher education there. Now, the reason behind this, I can rationally explain it, but it's not really relevant. So I actually set out an intention to manifest this reality for myself. And interestingly, I did this. Within the 2 years, I manifested my entire family. So my mom, dad, my brother, and I immigrating to Canada within a couple of years. And this will prove to be one of the most destructive manifestations that I've ever created, because I guess it was based on the third dimensional manifestation, but I do know that it was all meant to be. Like, there's no way I could have even got to where I am now unless all of this happened. I'm sure there was a way, but this was all meant to be. And it also includes that earlier programming that I did, that I wanted to experience certain challenges by a certain age. And this really catalyzed that, this immigration and challenges. So I was about 12 when we moved to Canada as a result of my manifestation. Whereas before we were all envied as the perfect family, my entire family fell apart after immigration, let alone trying to adjust to a new cultural society during puberty with like next to no English skills. Yes, English is my second language. I used to not be able to speak it. Every single day was like a World War III at home. There was like screaming from day to night. There was things being thrown on the wall. Just the energy was incredibly, incredibly threatening. And I pretty much stopped being taken care of as a child because everyone was just so concerned about their own conflict. They didn't have room. Neglect could be a word. I'd never eat properly. None of us communicated with each other, or we never even shared a meal, even if we lived under the same roof. Eventually, my dad moved back to Korea, and throughout all of this, I was conditioned to repress my multidimensional perception. So that was, I think, the challenging part. The most challenging thing is I was cut off from my most truthful version of reality. So I always felt numb and disconnected from my body. So when I turned the teenage years, like in high school, I became very self-destructive. My first boyfriend, who lasted for about 4 years, and he was like my best friend before that, he was like a massive drug dealer. So substance abuse was not even a word to describe my state of body, mind, and soul. I pretty much got free drugs all the time, like daily basis. I had toxic friends, toxic relationships, and like a non-existent relationship with my family. And last year of my high school, during school hours, I was dragged into the principal's office for overdosing. And they sent me to a hospital to get my stomach pumped. They called my mom out of work, and she had no idea about my state before that because she had too many conflicts of her own to deal with. She didn't have emotional space to care about how I was doing until that point. And the next day, they cleared out my locker, like my high school cleared out my locker, I guess, to check for what kind of stuff I had in there. And they found this notebook that was like very destructive, suicidal type notes, just very destructive thoughts that I put on paper. And so they sent me to a psychiatrist. And the hospital that they sent me, I went to the first session and I told them to go fuck themselves because these psychiatrists were some of the most damaged human beings I've ever met, like to date even. And how could they help me? And still, this is how I feel about a lot of healers, is they're in no place to heal other people. They're still wounded. And this healer type thing is what they use to, whatever, this is irrelevant. I'm just going on a tangent. I'm not going to get into this right now. But anyways, luckily, throughout all of this, I was still performing exceptionally well in school, so I got accepted into every program and prestigious university I ever applied to, so I chose to go to the best school, University of Toronto. So during university, I moved out of my mom's house. I still had the same drug dealing boyfriend. I still abused drugs and alcohol to a massive degree for the 4 years throughout university, but if it makes you feel any better, I was performing exceptionally well academically. And I was very lucky to have this completely eccentric academic program that was very much based on activism and alternate views on society. And these professors that I had were so influential in my life that they recognized me and I don't know, it was just the healing. School was just a very healing experience for me. University, not high school. High school was crap. High school, I don't even know if I would call that education, but this University of Toronto and this particular program that I took was incredibly like philosophical and high, like very high frequency in terms of as far as academic education can go. It's still not like esoteric, but it's good. And I feel very lucky for that experience. And so no wonder why I was really intuiting to want and desire this type of education, because in Korea, there's no way you would get this type of perception opening. So the first year that I moved out, so this is the first year of university, what do you call it, a freshman, in September. So it was like right when I moved out in the dorm. In September, I'm not going to get into too much detail about what happened, but pretty much I had a near-death experience. And I experienced an instantaneous collapse of the third dimensional consciousness into the realm of pure geometry, just instantly. I know a lot of people have astral travels up until they get to a higher dimension, but I didn't have any astral tunnels. I went straight to the sixth dimension, and I had this epiphany that this was a level of truth that I always knew. And it was very relieving. I now understand what happened is I experienced an immediate transcendence into the sixth dimension of sacred geometry, where a fractal of my consciousness is inceptionalized through the Sirian Stargate. So if you come from higher dimensions, actually the sixth dimension and the Sirian Stargate is where all of them come through to get inceptionalized into the third dimension. I get that now, but before, back then, it was like I didn't have a rational explanation for what I experienced. This is a time where I could have actually left. I could have left this timeline and narrative, but I actually came back because I had this realization of how destroyed my mother would become, my human mother. Everyone else would have been fine, but my mom. And so I came back, and I'm glad that I did. After recovering from this experience, because I actually, I still couldn't process it. Like, I knew this was significant, but I still, had to go back to the lowest level of consciousness and transmute that in order to align back to the highest that I just experienced, right? So after recovering from this experience, I still continued to manifest toxic environments. In second year, I was living with my old best friend back in high school, who I moved in with her, and during our living together, she became a sex worker and a stripper, and she put me through like physical hell because of the dark forces she would bring, and she would just put me through very security threatening situations that it disconnected me even more from my body. It was very, very rough to go through that time. Just the people she brought around and just the energy, overall energy, while I'm trying to perform well academically. So I literally would spend from like 7 a.m. I would get up, I would get out of the house, go to my university, and spend my entire day and night there until 2 a.m. where I came back just to sleep, because I'm not going to sleep at the school. It was a very painful experience, but luckily we got evicted out of the unit before the entire contract was over. Around this time is when I had another one of those calling back to my origin, because I was very sick one day, so I went to my mom's house in a bed, and I had a high fever, and all of a sudden I had this out-of-body experience, and I was guided by what I now understand is the solar logos beyond this solar system. So it took me through the solar system, and I heard these voices echo, "Beyond life and death." And they took me like above the cosmic blueprint into this endless void. And then I quickly came back to my physical reality. And I pushed it aside. I forgot about this experience once again because I couldn't process it at that time. But a few years later, I read the journal of back at this time. These short glimpses of truth were what helps me get through all of these rough times. If they hadn't happened, I don't know if I would still be here. But anyways, after that year of being evicted, I got saved by my school friends who took me in their home to live. So it was 3 amazing school friends who pretty much really healed my experience from the previous years. And it was this year, third year in university, where I turned 20 years old, and all of my ESP blew out of the waters in one experiential instance. So what happened is, at my school, they have these free yoga and Pilates classes. And so I attended one for the first time. And at the end of the class, the instructor put us in Shavasana pose and did this very quick, basic guided meditation, which was the first guided meditation I was ever led through. And she made us scan our bodily sensations from feet to head. And because I was so out of my body, this was a profound experience for me to scan my body. And immediately upon scanning, I had this trans-dimensional experience where I burst into this illuminative realm of light, and I transcended into this dimension of timelessness and spacelessness. I just felt this explosive solar energy. And I woke up and came back to physical reality when everyone at the gym started to leave, and I have no memory of what happened in that physical space. And the guided meditation was probably only like 5 minutes, but it felt like an eternity. So I just kind of stood there for a minute and decided to process this later when I could, because I couldn't. I knew I felt a deep alignment to what happened, and it was the realest experience I've ever had, probably since childhood, if not even more real. This was the realest experience since third density conception, really. But the thing is, I had no one to talk to about this. My best friend at the time, who was that drug dealing boyfriend, would not even have the capacity to imagine what I would describe as my experience. And this was a time where the internet wasn't as prevalent as it is today, that you feel comfortable to be yourself. I didn't even know there was a spiritual community on the internet. I didn't even know if that was like a spiritual experience. I just knew that was my truth and my reality that I had been suppressing for so long. I wasn't really into the whole like I didn't know. I never even knew that this was a thing that happened to spiritual journeys until later on, when I started getting into esoteric teachings, that this was like a illumination that happens. I see this as my first initiative calling back to my pure truth, and this is above the realm of dimension. So as you see, like up until a certain point, all of my experiences had been very abstract and like way higher dimensions, in the dimension of truth, rather than the extraterrestrial type of energy, which is still a sub-dimension from these higher realms. And after this experience, I started to read about these mild spiritual things like the law of attraction and Eastern teachings like the Thich Nhat Hanh. Not saying these are not high frequency, they are, but they're just like nothing compared to the degree of truth that I'm into exploring now. And so, but it was slowly guiding me back, right? And I was still very wounded and damaged. And as I mentioned, I didn't even have the mental capacity to deal with the notion of extraterrestrial heritage. I was just having these glimpses of, I guess, cosmic consciousness. And upon finishing university, I finally broke up with my toxic boyfriend and stayed away from relationships for at least a year. Like any type of romantic interactions, I was just done with it for then. So it was my 23rd birthday, actually, at this time frame. So at the end of age 22, that I met my first catalyst twin flame at the time. So this was a portal to this exponential evolution that catapulted me into this person that you're interfacing with right now, that is whole and healed and forgiving of all that ever happened, because I knew it was me. It's all me. So this guy, his name was Adam, which is symbolically a parallel to my personal genesis. And Adam and his family were very, very high frequency bloodline, and some of whom are directly involved with the secret space program. So this is the level of the human matrix that deals directly with intergalactic civilizations, and that are very, very levels and levels and levels higher than the federal government in terms of the hierarchy of structure for human civilizations. So this was my first personal encounter with this body of information that is this cosmic disclosure of intergalactic civilizations that we've always been a part of. And it felt just right to me. As soon as Adam and I met, actually, we felt such a strong soul resonance that we made a promise to each other that we would never get involved romantically because we should stay friends forever. Like, that's instantly what we said to each other as soon as we met. But one night, that promise didn't stay intact, so we slept together. This was in the winter of 2014. And after that, we went to the balcony, and there he pointed to the left corner of the sky like this and uttered these words, "That is so extraterrestrial." So I looked up, and to date, I think this was my most profound interface because it was shared with somebody. Usually when these interfaces happen, I'm alone. There was this oval ring the size of a stadium, and the color of it, the closest I can describe, is neon emerald green. But it's a color that is not visible under the human eye spectrum. Like, if you witness the color, you would know that is not a human spectrum color. And it was just hovering above our heads. And I was speechless, but at the same time, I was so whole, and I just felt this alignment with my truth that I was so grateful. So I was just standing there, speechless. Both of us actually were silent and didn't do anything. That was enough. And this was my beginning of the official Starseed Awakening and Galactic Consciousness. And I mean, the story, this was a portal in which it bred an entire new universe. This was like a portal milestone that from then on, I was never the same person. And the things that happened since then is an entire other universe that I don't even think it fits into this video. And I feel like an eternity passed since then and now into this person you see today. So if you liked my story and for some reason it helps with your journey, please let me know. And if I get good feedback on this, I will record the next parts and kind of explain since then what has happened to me. Otherwise, I'm not going to sit there and talk about myself. I'll just stick to my tarot readings. But yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart for actually caring about my personal reality. It means so much to me that you resonate so much because I don't have a lot of viewers, but this is exactly what I intended, is that I want this to reach the people who can resonate the most with me. And you know, that bandwidth of resonance, it can't happen with too many people. And I've already accomplished that at a place where the people who resonate with me are just like me, and they're marveling at how much they resonate with me. And I'm just so happy to have found my tribe. That I know how alone you can sometimes feel, but look at us, like we're connecting. We're gonna be fine. So thank you, and I love you from the bottom of my entire being.